We didn't stop with Silent Night, Night 3, though, did we? We had more festivities to partake in.
Liam had his tradition. He gives me a Silent Night, Deadly Night film. I had sort of started a tradition where I was giving Liam films he should have seen at Christmas that he might have missed. So we've had The Grinch, Santa Claus, Elf. Yeah. All films that I'm like, these are classic Christmas films. But I kind of run out. Like, there's other classic Christmas films, but I've got my own list of shit that I should have seen at Christmas that I haven't.
And
like, I've never seen It's a Wonderful Life and Miracle on 34th Street. I've not seen them. These are like classic films that I should have seen. So I sort of ran out and I was like, oh, I don't really know what to do. So what I found, listeners, was a list of erotic Christmas books. And as listeners that heard last episode will know, I gave Liam a choice of 3. I did bias him a little bit because there was one that I wanted us to pick, which is the one we did pick.
Yeah.
It was Miss Claus Goes Sledding, Flick Lodges His Tongue, a Sultry Christmas Erotic Novel Book 1 or something. Sultry Miss Claus Erotic Novel Book 1.
Yeah.
Something like that. It's 28 pages of erotic Christmas fiction. So Liam, do you want to give us like just a quick plot synopsis of this book?
Miss Claus...
Oh, sorry, listeners. There will be spoilers for this book. So if you're desperate to read some...
The thing is, you could pause this, read it and come back, and you'd only have lost about half an hour of your life.
It was 25 minutes.
Yeah. So, a brief plot synopsis. Miss Claus is a sex worker.
Yeah, she's a host.
A host? Escort?
I think they differentiate. I think she is one of the hosts.
Okay.
And people like famous characters like Pretzel, I think they're escorts.
Right, okay. She is a sex worker, though.
Yeah.
She is attending this place that
she works at the North Pole Club.
Yeah, which is obviously all done up Christmassy. There's like so if the North Pole is like a club, there's another part of the club that she doesn't really get to go to a lot. Is that the lodge?
Well, okay, so the way they describe it,
is
so. Listeners, the issue with this sort of book is it's written by someone very horny on the internet, and it's not the best written thing.
No, it is hard to follow like locations and stuff sometimes. Yeah,
but the way I have pictured it from what I read, you've basically got like the central hub of the North Pole Club, right? Yeah. You've got your hosts, escorts, waiters and waitresses. You've got the guests.
Yeah.
Then branching off from that central hub are a number. There's a few different rooms, which are all themed.
Yeah.
So
that the lodge is one. You've got the
lodge
slopes.
is one. The slopes.
Yeah.
Who wouldn't want to have sex on a mountain in the cold?
Yeah.
So yeah. Miss Claus.
Yeah.
She's been set up with a client.
Fun Pete.
That's his name.
She takes him up the slopes. The problem with Fun Pete, though, he's had too much fun that night. He's drunk.
Bit of a drinker, is old Fun Pete. Which, to be fair, he's quite fun when he's drunk at the beginning.
Yeah.
He does get a little bit less fun.
Yeah. So, basically, half the book is spent you thinking she's going to fuck this, like, this guy that is just not described in a particularly appealing way at all.
No, he's often
described as sweaty.
He's a portly, sweaty gentleman wearing what they describe as a fleecy snowman costume.
Yeah.
Which I think just means he was literally wearing a jumper that's like looks a bit like a snowman. Because the way they describe him, like getting his dick out and stuff, is not conducive to a snowman costume.
No. So this book spends half of its time making you think that she's gonna have sex with him. Then something happens that we'll talk about. But I'm just doing a synopsis for now, so I don't want to go into it.
Yeah.
Something happens. She has to change track slightly, and she ends up with Flick, who is a guy dressed as an elf, who has tongue capabilities.
He is described as a tongue master.
Yes, that's right.
So, let your mind wander, listeners.
He has mastered the art of tongue punching.
He's got a 1-inch punch with his tongue.
Yeah. So that's the synopsis, right?
Yeah. I think that's a good synopsis. You've given us the key points there.
So if you were on the fence, I don't know if I want to watch this, I don't know if I want to read this or not. If that hasn't swayed you, get ready for spoilers. If it has swayed you, pause it right now, spend 25 minutes and read it.
It's literally only 25 minutes. You can knock it out.
Well,
you could probably read it quicker.
It depends. Yeah, it depends how much masturbation you're doing while you're reading it.
I'll be honest, the answer to that is most likely 0, unless you're very horny already and you're like...
And you literally just get to the front cover and you're like, that'll do.
Yeah. Because this book is...
not erotic.
Not really. It struggles.
There is... I sent this to Ellie earlier. There are 2 words that are put together in this erotic novel that I don't think belong in any erotic novel. Those 2 words, dear listeners, are blood streak.
That's fair. But I would counter that Twilight erotic fiction.
Even so, it's the streak. Like,
the
blood
streak is the
streak.
Weird bit. Yeah, that's not great.
Like, I get why you might find blood in an erotic fiction. Doesn't do it for me, but I get how it might appear in there. But streak?
Yeah. I mean, that's not even the least sexy part of this.
Oh, no, it's not. No. There's many bits that are not sexy.
One issue I had was that the author clearly has...
The author is Sable Rae.
Sable Rae. Love her work.
Yeah,
absolute hero. I've only read 1 book.
But she likes to write about massive tits. And I think that might be a direct quote.
She's got a... Oh, no, I think it is. She's got a thing for big old tits.
Yep.
And Mrs. Claus is not shy about letting people know what she wants, and that is to
tit fuck.
Give them a tit fuck.
Yep. Titty fuck.
She just... Like, they make a point. This is one of my favourite things about that is they make a point that Fun Pete has a thing for boobs. So for the first part of the book, you're like, well, Mrs. Claus, she even says, she's like, oh, she's got a friend who works at the place as well, Pretzel, who is an escort. So her job is not to have sex with the clients. She's meant to just show them around, but you all know Pretzel. Sometimes she sneaks off and gives them a bit of a BJ.
Which Miss Claus, not a big fan of when that first happened.
No, she says at first. First she was like, oh, that's not very nice. You know, that's not her job. But Pretzel and her are like best friends now.
Yeah.
As you see in the book. You don't. That doesn't happen. She literally just... Pretzel just says some weird shit.
Yeah. Well, no. Pretzel has like a bit of a code, right? Where so the way it works...
Are you describing it as a code?
Sort of,
Let me just see if I can find... You tell listeners how it works, and I'll find the
way it works is Pretzel will figure out what the client is into, and then through this very subtle coded message will regale that information to Miss Claus.
Yeah, so I will crack that code for you, listeners.
Does the book not even describe it as a code?
It might do. I found the bit.
Okay.
They might describe it as a code later on. Basically, we start with Fun Pete staring at Mrs. Claus's boobs.
Yeah.
Miss Claus, it starts here. It says, I raised my eyebrows and gave Pretzel a questioning look. Pretzel responds, I told Fun Pete you have really massive tits, said Pretzel, with a jolly tone, that you like to give titty fucks. I felt a jolt of electricity shoot through my groin. Pretzel was on good form tonight.
Yeah.
Their code is that Pretzel talks to the client, subtly figures out what they want, and then when Miss Claus rocks up, she just goes, told him you'd give him a good titty fuck.
Yeah.
Listeners, this is the only book I've ever gone through and actually highlighted using Kindle, which is a great feature. I've highlighted things like in the next scene after that. Pretzel says to Mrs. Claus, have a great time, Miss Claus, said Pretzel as she gave me a jolly wave. She said to Fun Pete, hope you enjoy having your gigantic cock between Miss Claus's massive tits. And then Miss Claus thinks to herself, geez, Pretzel, you are good. She's just so subtle. I love it. Pretzel's got that like sort of spy knack to her. She can just figure these things out and subtly drop them into conversation.
Yeah. Bear with me a sec. I'm just trying to find a part to read out. Yeah, here we go. So, there's a bit in it. Pretzel was on good form tonight. We had an agreement that she would find out which explicit words my guests used before they were handed over to me, which I took to mean a bit of a code. Maybe I read too deeply into it.
It definitely... the implication, I think, is that it's meant to be subtle, and it's not. Isn't.
No.
Pretzel literally just talks to the guy and then goes, yeah, Miss Claus, he wants you to jerk off his dick with your big tits.
Yeah.
And Miss Claus is like, Pretzel's so good at this.
I don't... Go on.
We have skipped over a couple of bits that I would like to point out.
Okay, let's do this.
The first thing I've highlighted in the book is... And I think I was giving this book too much credit, because I've highlighted this, and the stuff I've highlighted later is just... makes this pale in comparison. But I've highlighted, but I looked cute and sexy, because they've italicized the word and there.
Yeah.
Almost like I looked cute and sexy. Like, that doesn't feel like a hard thing to do. Not, I mean, for me it is. I'm not cute or sexy.
Yeah,
but
same.
Do you know what I mean? So I started thinking, like, I was like going a bit too hard on the book there, because the book is... I also highlighted a bit of... The book's not... So listeners, I think of myself as a bit of a progressive. I'm a transgender, pansexual woman. You know, I think that leads me to be a bit more sort of... I expect people to meet a bit of a higher standard than sometimes they do. This book has a line that is, "I was equally pleasant to the female guests who were here to have fun with our hot male hosts." Why can the female people not be there for the females? I thought that was a bit weird.
Yeah.
I caught that early on.
But there is some like female on female stuff later on.
There is, but so early on I caught that and I was like, not sure about that.
Yeah.
Which later on, listeners, there is a scene where Miss Claus says to one of the serving staff, "Can you hold this dick for me?" And then when he goes to do it, she's like, "I can't believe you were actually going to do that, Speedy. Stop." And I was like, sorry.
Right, no. Let me question you on this, right?
Okay.
I don't have a horse in this game. I don't really care what the answer is. But trying to do like the whole devil's advocate thing, could it be a professional thing? Like, he's a waiter, he shouldn't be touching like customers' dicks. Not from a like, oh, it's gay thing, but just from a professional... I could
see your argument for that, except
it
for the
gets
fact
undermined.
that it was followed by this line. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff that's very, I don't know, and I get it. It's erotic fiction.
It's not trying to change the world.
It sort of leads into one of my theories about Sable Rae.
Oh, okay.
A little bit.
Okay,
and I'm saying this with no evidence to back it up.
Right. That's the best type of theory.
Except what's in this book. I have a suspicion that Sable Rae might not be a woman.
Well, can I read out to you the About the Author page?
Please do. I hope it just starts with Sable Rae as a woman.
The holidays are special to Sable Rae, and she loves to base her stories around the seasons. She aims to bring you a blush and a series of hot tingles as you turn the pages. She lives in the US with her sexy husband, who is intrigued and sometimes disturbed by her imagination. He is willing to help out with some of her experiments, even dressing as a holiday elf when necessary. That's commitment. She welcomes readers to leave reviews of her books on Amazon, Goodreads, and other sites. Please like and follow her on Facebook, facebook.com/erotic Sable Rae.
That's fair. And to be honestly, I could be being too judgmental, which I don't want to be. Like, I don't want to say, oh, a woman wouldn't write this, because there are women who are just as filthy as men.
And women can be terrible writers as well.
Exactly.
If
but when
anything,
you get a line
they're more
like,
inclined to be.
But when you get a line like, "And my massive tits are looking forward to smothering your big cock," I don't know. It just doesn't... It doesn't scream, this is a female writer.
No. But this is like my first real reading of erotic fiction. And obviously we're on the fence, right, of who has written this. And I 100% get it doesn't sound like it's come from a female. But I have nothing to compare it to.
Well, we've watched 50 Shades of Grey.
Yeah.
Which was a book authored by a woman, which is erotica, sort of.
But I haven't read the book.
No, we haven't. And it could be that she does say, "I want to smother your cock with my massive tits." We don't know that. And that's fair. I think I might be being too judgmental, Liam, and I think it's right that you've sort of called me out on that. So thank you.
I'm just trying to be, devil's advocate.
No, that's fair. That's fair.
Equally, though, this is the thing. I'm not trying to call you out. I'm just trying to say we could read something that from someone that we know is definitely female and suddenly see a very stark difference. Yeah,
could I just read you a different line? This isn't...
Yeah, no, go for it. Yeah.
I just wanted to read it because I've highlighted it. I wasn't standing in the right direction for the bar, so I couldn't tell if any of the staff were getting some freebies. Listeners, freebies are what the staff of this club call it when a serving staff member, who they're not meant to masturbate, but sometimes it all gets a little bit too hot and they have a cheeky little wank, which they like to call a freebie.
Speedy does it a couple of times.
Speedy does do it a couple of times.
It's not why he's called Speedy.
No, it's not. It's because he's fast at getting drinks.
Yes.
So couldn't tell if any of the staff were getting some freebies, but I imagined they were self-pleasuring, so I ran my palms across my arse cheeks and opened the crack wide for a few seconds, so they could see my back door hole.
I remember that bit, the back door hole bit.
I highlighted it because I thought that was a particularly disgusting way to call your ass, my back door hole.
Yeah.
What is that? It's either you could just call it a back door or a hole. It doesn't need to be both.
It
shouldn't be your back door hole.
Yeah, well, you've got to be specific. That's what you want from your erotica, right?
I don't know, man. I mean, this whole book is it's so wild and out there. Like, the thing about erotic fiction that I find fascinating is it feels to me like a way for someone to write something. You're writing a story, and because the erotica is the main thing, right?
Yeah.
You can sort of just do whatever the fuck you want with the rest of it. Because this book is insane. The club they are in
doesn't make sense.
Is so out there. This book must be set in the far future for this stuff to happen.
Can I just read like a page of this? Okay.
Yes, please do.
This is a page of a book whose really the sole purpose of this book is to be enticing. It's to be erotic. It's to, as the About the Author said, give you a little tingle. Okay.
Yeah.
Just to set up the scene, Miss Claus and Fun Pete have gone up a chairlift. They have two options of how they get down. They can either sled down or rubber tube. Miss Claus gets on a sled. Off she goes. Fun Pete, very drunk.
Fun Pete is meant to get on the back of her sled.
But
he kicks it by accident.
Yeah.
Bloody Fun Pete.
Off she goes. Fun Pete falls down this slope.
Yep.
So Miss Claus is now at the bottom. I jumped off and turned to see Fun Pete hurtling down the slope with his arms and legs splayed. He looked like a human snowflake. He spun wildly when he hit the slow-down ramp and returned to the lowest spot beside me. "My dick!" he cried, with his bare ass in the air. He was cupping his groin. "My dick's on fire!" Flake had jumped onto an empty sled and landed near us. She ran over, thanks to her rubber-soled boots, to gauge the situation. "Oh my God, is he okay? You need to call the nurse. Now," I said, worried that Fun Pete would never have fun again. This was a disaster. Flake contacted the nurse. She would be over immediately. On the nurse's instructions, we didn't turn him over. I scanned the slope, and I didn't see any blood streaks. There was no red moisture seeping out from underneath poor Fun Pete, so I sighed a little relief. I was thankful not to see his appendage sliding down the slope. His black top hat glided in and landed next to his bare thigh. Who wants to have a little wank now? Because it's not me. I don't.
It's very unerotic. It's.
I don't want to get too nitpicky, but I also noticed a typo in one of the pages.
Yes, same. It was
called instead of could.
Yes, yeah. I spotted that one too. Yep.
Yeah. So clearly a lot of effort went into this.
Now, listeners, this is one of my things, right, where I think it's similar to my, weird knowledge of fetishes.
Yeah.
Where, I am fascinated by that kind of stuff. Not in a way where I'm like, I have that fetish. It's more like I'm just fascinated by the idea of these things. And erotic fiction is hitting all the nails on the head for me, because there are things in this book that only an amateur writer could write, and only a horny amateur writer could ignore and just skip over. But they have these moments where, so Flake, who is one of the staff at the club, who rides down afterwards.
Yeah.
My favourite part of that whole page, ignore it, the bloody shrieks, whatever. The fact that the author takes time to explain that Flake is wearing rubber-soled shoes so she doesn't slip on the snow is one of my favourite things.
Yeah.
Only an amateur writer can be like, I should explain that. Yeah. And only a horny amateur writer can explain it that quickly and just be like, rubber-soled shoes.
Done. Moving on.
People have got to know. Everyone's got to know that Flake has rubber-soled shoes. You could just say she runs over.
Yeah.
No one would question it.
No.
No one is going to be sitting there, dick in hand, waiting to see if his penis has come off, going, wait a minute, how did Flake sprint across the snow there?
It just seems weird to me that we spend so much of this building up Fun Pete just to have that happen to him and then very quickly change track. Almost as if they got to the end and went, right, two problems. One, it's not very sexy. And two, it's a little bit too short.
14 pages.
Yeah, so suddenly we need some more.
Yeah, Fun Pete feels like the addition to this book.
Yeah, and the fact that it's even got the subtitle Flick lodges his tongue, which we need to now discuss, I guess.
Yeah, so we had this discussion earlier over message.
Yeah.
The word lodging sort of implies getting stuck.
Yes.
I feel like it could also be used in a context of just sort of forcing it in.
Or staying somewhere. Lodging.
Yeah, maybe he's sticks his tongue somewhere and just leaves it in there for a little bit. Not particularly sexy.
No.
I'll admit.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't really happen. He just gives her cunnilingus a couple of times.
Yeah, they're 69 at one point.
She says it's pretty good.
Yeah. I think my favourite bit is she obviously gives him a titty fuck because that's her favourite thing to do.
She loves doing it.
He comes all over her tits.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Okay. Yep.
Yeah?
Yep.
Do you know where I'm going with this?
I think I know where you're going. Then, is it to do with Speedy?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. See, this is another issue I had.
This is weird. That's sexual assault, right?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I can't remember what she does to him. Does she get him
She grabs his head and sticks it in her tits. Like, she sticks his head in her tits, and then he sort of, like, recoils because from a professional standpoint, he shouldn't be doing that.
Yeah,
and
that is the reason they give.
Yeah, and then Flick is like, maybe he just didn't like my dried semen.
Yeah. See, this is the thing. It's another one of those, like, it's one of those things that I'm like, that's a little bit problematic. Because I feel like the implication there is meant to... I feel like the joke the author was going for, or not even I don't even know if you can call it a joke, but was that, like, oh, how disgusting, a man getting another man's semen on him.
Yeah.
And, like, it's just, they're in this club where there's a fucking orgy happening next to them, which involves lots of men and women. But
one of the things I quite liked, when Flick is lodging his tongue, the author will often divert to two couples that are nearby.
Oh, yes, the much sexier couples who are having a much sexier erotic novel happen.
Yeah, but seem to also be watching this while it's happening. But it's two guys who I think are having anal with two women.
Yes, they are having anal sex with two women.
The two women are kissing each other and watching and all this sort of stuff. And I think the men high five at one point or something.
I think they do.
They exchange, words.
Yeah.
It's... I don't understand why this is a thing that you made me read.
Again, I genuinely love this shit. I think it's hilarious and great. And I'm fascinated by this kind of thing. This book, right, I will now make an argument. And I'm not saying I agree with the argument I'm making. Okay. I don't want to take a stance on this.
Okay.
But I will put forward that this is a great Christmas story.
I already have contention in mind.
It all comes down
to
the last page of the book.
Okay.
Because what are the important things at Christmas, Liam? It's not the gifts.
Trees.
It's not the meal. It's not the trees. It's about spending time with your friends and family, right?
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
This book ends after an entire lodge of people have stopped their orgies and their sex. Well, they've still carried on with the sex, but they've been watching Miss Claus and Flick make beautiful love.
Yeah.
Possibly. Just a tit fuck and a 69. But,
but.
They stop. They have a moment where Flick comes, Miss Claus has an orgasm.
Yeah.
And they decide, hey, this night's not over yet. What do you want to do? Everyone's a bit disappointed. Miss Claus puts on her clothes. But her and Flick are like, yeah, we're going to we're going to go hit the slope. We're going to hit the slopes. I'd love to just ride those slopes without Fun Pete ruining it.
What a dickhead.
Everyone in the lodge decides that they're going to go with them. And then you get the beautiful sentence, in the meantime, everyone around us decided they would hit the slopes too. Flick and I were delighted. We were now one big happy family. Which is the worst way to describe a room of people that were in the middle of an orgy and then watched you have sex with people.
Yeah. Is it also just, does it feel like it ends quite abruptly, as if there's more of this night to be told?
Oh, there definitely is, Liam.
Yeah.
I can't wait for Sable Rae to release book 2. I'm not even joking.
So, can I read what I'm assuming is meant to be one of the more erotic parts of this book? Because I didn't find it erotic, but I would like your opinion and also our listeners' opinion.
Yeah, hit me with it, Liam.
Okay. This is during the whole 69 part. This is probably what I would say is maybe what is supposed to be the most erotic part, but I could be wrong.
Okay.
My attention returned to my amusing guest when he parted my lips deftly and lunged in with his tongue. I was pleasantly shocked, and I oohed and ahed as he probed me with his masterly appendage. I held his cock in my hand and pumped him again as I licked his balls all over. I moved to his head, which was missing a foreskin, and sucked on it gently, swallowing the pre-cum that appeared. I ran my tongue up and down and around his thick shaft, much to his delight. Though his lips were clamped around my entrance, I heard muffles of satisfaction as I licked him hard. Flick found my aroused clit and circled it with pressure. The nerve ends in my groin pulsated as he worked his magic. He was an expert with his tongue, and I was nearing another orgasm. I massaged his cock as I licked it from the sensitive head to the base. Underneath my arm, I could feel his thighs tightening. He was getting close to climax too. We were about to come again, and this time, together. I peeked out and saw some bare backsides. Some female lodgers were on their knees and sucking cocks. I could hear a lot of males murmuring and confirming their partners were doing well. I saw a male lodger sucking his female guest pussy, and she was practically writhing in ecstasy. This was a horny lot tonight. The pressure in my groin boiled over, and I shook and shuddered as I reached an orgasm. Others around us cried out too as they peeked. I returned my gaze to Flick's cock and went for the final push. I stroked him firmer with gentle twists. I flicked my tongue around his head with speed, and I nibbled up and down his shaft. When I felt him go rigid, I placed him fully into my mouth. He gave out a loud, guttural cry as he unloaded into my throat. I quickly released him and swallowed his cum in one.
Now, that scene...
Yeah.
She's got the penis.
Yes.
She's nibbling it, which already don't know if that's a good idea, but she's nibbling it.
Yeah, nibbling the shaft.
He goes to orgasm.
Yeah.
She puts it in her mouth.
Yeah.
Swallows it in one.
Yeah.
No, sorry, I've done it in the wrong order. Cock in the mouth.
Yeah.
She releases him.
Yeah.
What's she letting go of? The penis?
And the balls, I'm assuming.
Everything.
Yep.
She lets go. Yep. And then goes... like a seagull.
Yeah. That's how I'm picturing it.
I then like as well that you get like a sort of almost a running gag where Speedy's then behind the sofa and he's had another wank.
Yeah.
This book is just wild.
There's a bit, right? So earlier on, Speedy has a wank behind a sofa and comes all over the back of a sofa. And then there's another bit where Miss Claus says she sees Speedy behind some female guests. Yeah. And she's like, oh, or maybe it's male guests. I don't know. It's behind some guests.
No, it's two female guests. And she's worried that they'll be annoyed that he's come on them.
Yeah. As if Speedy just can't control himself.
I love it. These are supposed to be... She literally describes the serving staff as these like people who are hired to control their own arousal. But I guess the implication of the book is that Miss Claus is just so sexy. And she isn't. She's not... She doesn't come off as attractive in this book.
One of my favourite bits is when... I think she's going down the slope maybe. But she describes her hair flying behind her like a flag.
It's just so good.
I can't tell reading this if the author is sort of doing it tongue-in-cheek.
No.
Or is like 100% this is going to be sexy.
I think it's a legitimate attempt to be sexy.
Okay. Because I'm just trying to think. I really want to have a go at writing some erotica. Like, I want to have a real crack at it. But I don't know if I should do tongue-in-cheek or like... I'm gonna
no.
Do this
I think if you're doing it, you've got to go hard. I think tongue-in-cheek erotica. No one, because then you're missing the market of people like me who are like, "This is so bad, I love it." You're also missing the market of people who legitimately want to masturbate to it. There's no one who's going, "I want to read sexy erotica," and I really hope it's all sarcastic.
Not all of it, but like moments of humour. Just here.
You can have humour. I'm saying you can have humour in there, but you can't write the book being like, this is a tongue-in-cheek version of erotica. Okay. I think if you're going to do it, Liam, which I want you to...
I have an idea.
Is it Christmas-themed?
No.
You should write the story of Fun Pete.
No.
You attempted, though.
Yeah, I have an idea. I might see if I can spend some time, maybe this week, jotting down some notes and getting a story started.
I honestly, I would love you to do that and... bring it to the podcast when it's when you got something. Let us know how it's going.
Yeah, we'll get a guest on, and we'll do a culture swap where I'm the one that picks the culture swap, not the guest.
God, I would like to point out, listeners, if you were worried that this, because I think we said in the last episode I couldn't find a sequel to this.
Yeah,
because I don't think it's been written yet. I'm hoping it will be. But if you were worried that this would be the end of Ellie finding Christmas erotica for Liam, I would like to let you know that Sable Rae has written. Just her alone. There's tons of other people out there that have done it. But Sable Rae has written the North Pole Club guest series, which includes Jingle Bell, Jiggly Bells. Yeah. I like that those two are very similar.
Yeah.
Holiday Thongs.
Of course.
And Holiday Party.
Yeah.
That's fine. She's also written the North Pole Club Hosts series, which includes a Miss Claus book, so we get Miss Claus again. There's also Nutcracker, who is a character that comes up in this book.
Yeah, Nutcracker Fairy.
She makes people's nuts numb.
Yeah, obviously.
And Eve's End of Year Party.
Yeah.
And then, of course, this series. Then she has another bunch of series about other holidays and one that seems to be calendar-based. I don't really get that, but, you know.
It's erotica for all year round.
Yeah, there's a whole vampire series. I mean, Sable Rae is on point.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing with this sort of stuff, right? Is it just... what's the word? Just the amount of that's output. Not the quality, but, like, just the sheer amount of it.
I think people are like, I just need to churn out more of this stuff.
Like, if you was an erotic writer, is it just, I just need something out, like, once a week? Like, I need a new book every week. Is it like that?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't... Because the thing is, I genuinely feel like, and I hope that these people, I don't know, I almost hope they are trying, because they kind of get a bit of my respect for doing this. Because this is not... Like, they go under pseudonyms, because obviously if people knew you were doing it, they'd be like, oh, what a weirdo.
Yeah.
Like, these people are out there, they're writing their erotic fiction. Yeah, it's shit. It's written poorly. But fuck it, they tried. And you know what? I honestly, I tip my hat to Sable Rae. I don't tip my hat as much to the one that we were looking up last time, who'd written a lot of questionable content, shall we say.
Yeah.
But Sable Rae, I tip my hat to you, sir or madame, or they or them.
Okay.
Or Z, or Xi.
Listeners, please remember just all of what Ellie said when she reviews the erotic fiction that I'm going to write.
Liam's going to be shit.
How many words do you think this is? I need to know what I'm aiming for.
We could find out very easily.
How?
I'll just Google it.
Okay.
Actually, I think it might tell me in the Kindle store.
Yeah, I wasn't sure.
It tells me how many pages it was.
I just need to know what I'm targeting.
Yeah.
Because it's like I said on the last episode, this is my issue with these sort of things. Is as soon as it seems achievable to me, a horrible part of my brain goes, why don't you try and do it then?
I think you should try and do it. I genuinely think you should.
I've got plans.
Right, view in store. 35 pages. Screen reader supported.
Oh, that's good.
I've just discovered that Kindle has a text-to-speech thing you can do.
So this podcast in the future, if my eyes don't get fixed, could become an erotic fiction podcast.
We could still do we could still do all the erotic stuff. It doesn't tell me how many words. I'll find out for you, Liam. I will find out.
Give me a target.
Yeah.
Or how many words do you think would be like if I write erotic fiction? How many words for you would you say that's good?
I think you'd have to get 28 Kindle pages.
I'll
set lower because this was the longest one. I think 20 Kindle pages.
I don't know what that equates to in words. I'm writing on a Word document.
I think there's about 200 words a page.
Okay.
So times that by 20. I think you've got to write 4,000 words.
Perfect. That was massively entertaining for our listeners there to listen to you
I'm
count.
going to cut most of me counting it out.
I
just counted words and lines. It's fine. We've got a number now. Liam's going to write 4,000 words of erotica. Yeah. Are you going for a theme?
I haven't decided.
Are you hitting a holiday?
No, I'm not doing a holiday. I've got an idea, but I don't think it's a theme yet.
Okay.
It's still very early days. Early days. Question for you. If there was to be a sequel to this book, what would you hope would happen in it? And also, what would you call it?
Right. What I want a sequel directly of this series where Flick and Miss Claus get their time on the mountain. I want at least half the book to just be them on the mountain doing sort of vaguely erotic stuff.
Okay.
Then I want another guy dressed as an elf to come in, do the little tongue flicky motion that Flick did.
Yeah.
Miss Claus is all like, well, hold on. Oh, no, scrap all that. I've just got it, Liam.
Okay.
Bloody got it. If she doesn't take this idea, Sable Rae, if you are listening, I've got it for you.
I mean, she's got a Facebook page. We can post this episode to it once it's out.
Miss Claus needs to sleep with Speedy, and then Flick and Speedy need to compete to see who's better. And Speedy needs to win.
Okay, like compete on the slopes,
Speedy,
maybe.
It turns out Speedy's pretty good with his tongue. Maybe he's quite fast with his tongue.
Okay.
That's the kind of level of writing she's got, so I'll settle for it.
Okay, fair enough.
That's what I want. And then I want a spin-off of Funpeak. And I want him to hook up with the lady that was meant to be with Flick, who is also in hospital, which we skimmed over, but another person ends up in hospital in this book. There are 2 hospitalizations in this club in one
you
night.
want them to meet in hospital?
Yeah.
I
they
like
just have
that
like
idea.
a real... Yeah, that's quite sweet.
Yeah, that's a good idea. 2
Fun
people,
Pete
like,
probably...
they're both bummed out. The night did not go the way they thought it would go.
No, but then Fun Pete looks
you
over and he's like, "You've got some pretty big tits."
Did you notice the managers, when they were describing what happened, was like, "Oh, she slipped. I dread to think on what." And then later you find out it's just on, like, custard or banana pudding.
Yeah. Well, was that meant to be a little joke? Like, he thought it was banana or custard pudding, which would look lot like...
Oh, maybe. I didn't think... No. One thing that I did quite like is how when Miss Claus meets Flick for the first time, they both have a little conversation about how neither of them have really got their end away that night.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, that's the thing they worry about at this club.
Yeah.
Because Flick's like, "I didn't have sex with her." And she's like, "Oh, I didn't have sex with Fun Pete."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Cool."
I guess Flick doesn't want sloppy seconds with Fun Pete.
No, that's fair.
So, good to know.
Poor Fun Pete.
That's
the real takeaway from this, listeners.
He's not described flatteringly, though.
Yeah, Miss Claus and Flick have got a family now. But they ain't got Fun Pete.
So, my sequel idea, I really like your idea of there being another elf dressed up. I liked where you were going with that.
Yeah.
And Miss Claus has to, like, make a decision. So, basically, my title is Miss Claus Goes Rubber Tubing, Elf on the Shelf. She has to decide which elf to leave behind.
Oh, see, I quite like the idea of you've got Flick, who's named Flick because of his tongue, and I like the idea of there being another elf who they nickname like Shelf because he sits very high up on a shelf. That's his thing.
That's just... Okay, I don't know how that's going to work.
I mean, here's the thing, listeners. There's so many other rooms at this club that we don't know about yet. And yeah, she probably covers some in the other novels, but there could be anything. The mountain is literally a mountain inside a room.
It has chairlifts. But we know it's not...
screens that show things like bald eagles flying past.
And they also have stuffed animals on the slopes as well.
Yeah, yeah. Also, the chairlift inside that room is 15 foot above the floor. Yeah. And it is possible to fall out of it and die, as Fun Pete nearly does.
There are 2 chairlifts as well.
Yeah.
So this is how big of a room we're talking here.
It's huge. And this is just one of the rooms. Oh, I love this series. I hope she writes more. Sable Rae, you've got yourself a fan.
What are you giving this out of 5?
I'm giving it... I do need to explain why it's getting this. It's getting a 3.5.
That's high.
It is high. It is not because it is a good book. It is because I have enjoyed it so much.
Okay.
In terms of, like, I have found the experience of reading this book, I love how shittily written it is. Like, all the things that make this a bad book have made me enjoy this book. So that's why it's getting a high score.
I'm going to give it a 1 out of 5 for the simple reason it fails as erotica because at no point was I remotely abassed. And I have low standards when it comes to that sort of thing. It's not hard to get me going. So,
but you're pretty vanilla, and this is almost a fetish, Christmas fetish.
I am pretty vanilla, but I don't think there's anything in this that is like outrageous enough to be like, for me to be like, oh, that's gone beyond sexy to just horrible. No, it never quite gets to sexy. It just, it stalls. No, it stalls.
It flops around. It flops around in.
It's like a freshly climaxed penis that you're trying to get going again, but it needs recovery time.
Yeah.
It's not like a teenage penis. It's a middle-aged man penis, and they need to recover and recuperate.
Yeah.
And you can pump away at it all you like. I will try and read the rest of
these, listeners. I'm going to try and read the rest of these series, and I'll let you all know how that goes.
So that's future housekeepings to look forward to.
Yep.
Okay. Because I think you could easily go through all of these festive ones, and we still have like a whole load of other festive erotica to do for future.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
By like different authors.
I'm mainly hoping we get more of this specific series, the Miss Claus series, for next year. That's what I want. Sable Rae, if you're out there.
Honestly, I think we could consider posting this to her Facebook page.
I'm going to write a review.
I was tempted to, but I didn't want to be the only review that was mean. So if you do yours first,
I'm not going to be mean. I don't think I'm mean.
A 1 out of 5 review is not exactly glowing.
No, that's true.
So you do yours first. Do it on Goodreads, because that's where I'm doing mine.
Okay.
And then I'll do mine.
Okay. Liam, I think that's like pretty much the end of the Christmas episode. So what are we going to be doing for our New Year's Roundup episode?
It'll be a new year and a new day, and as you know, we spend the first part of the episode like reviewing the previous year, and then we just do like a blog standard episode. So we're doing The Void for Culture Swap next time.
So enthusiastic.
This is like an Ellie pick, which is kind of ignoring the fact that it's one of her picks. So
yeah,
she's trying
Liam
to like
picked it. Liam's trying to cut off as many films as he can from the list. He was trying to be all like, "Oh, why don't I just look through the list to see what I've got, and we can pick something."
Ellie wanted to start with aliens, and this looked alien-y.
Well, I think it's more supernatural, but yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't allowed coming of age because apparently we've done that recently, but I don't remember when.
It feels like it.
So yeah, we're doing The Void. Ellie's going to be happy. We're starting the new year.
I might not be.
On a Ellie high.
Well, yeah, and you'll be on a Liam low because you'll have lost so badly at the list.
Yeah, that's true.
So look forward to that, listeners.
Look forward to finding out what 5 films Ellie's going to get me to start the year with.
Can you send me over that list?
Yeah. Yeah.
Listeners, if you want to get in contact with us, you can email us at nerdonnerdpod@gmail.com. You can tweet us at nerdonnerdpod. No, Nerd on Nerd. You can Facebook us at facebook.com/nerdonnerdpod. You can review us on iTunes. You can comment on YouTube, although you'll be commenting stuff that's a year old.
Yeah, but it's getting there.
We're getting pretty close to the Introducing Ellie episode.
So, yeah, it's only a couple of episodes
away. That's going to blow up.
That's going to be everyone's favourite because everyone loves Ellie and Liam can just fuck off.
I don't know why Liam has suddenly got so depressed at the end of this episode.
I'm just so sad that Christmas is over.
It is sad, Liam.
I've really enjoyed this Christmas episode.
It's been a good one. It's very long. I'm sorry about that, listeners, but it's the Christmas special. This is what we do.
I've not heard any complaints from our listeners that these episodes are too long, now that Mark stopped listening.
Yeah, there we go.
Because it was too long.
Because they were too long.
Look, right, I've said it before, I'll say it again. This is free content. You have to do fuck all for it. Enjoy it.
Yeah, you can stop it in the middle. Save different bits. Be like, I'll listen to Culture Swap later.
If you have a particularly favourite part of the show, wait till I've caught up on YouTube, and this time next year, just listen to that part on YouTube.
Yeah.
Simple. You've got options.
Think about it. Next Christmas, they'll all be hearing about Miss Claus and Flick.
Wait, no. Wait. Think about it. Not even next Christmas, because if I'm uploading one a week, and this is episode 79.
Oh yeah, so yeah.
By the end of the year, I'll have done 52. So we're talking like what, 26 weeks?
Yeah, so it'll be the middle of summer when the Christmas episode goes up.
Perfect.
Great, love it. If people ever look back at the YouTube, they're going to be like, "Why was this episode uploaded in August?"
No, because I think they'll also listen and be like, oh, they've moaned about YouTube every episode until it's caught up. So I fully understand what's happened here.
Fair point. Any final thoughts, Liam?
I cannot wait for a new year full of potential opportunities.
That's a beautiful thought, Liam.
Ellie, any final thoughts from you?
I wish that I could show the world my backdoor hole.
What's stopping you?
Bye.